Hello everybody, this is Salar and you guys are welcome to this exciting course on Csharp. We are in the methods section of the course and the last lecture was all about methods calling methods. We learned to write programs where a method can make call to other methods. Using this approach, we can divide a complex logic into different reusable blocks. Now, in this lecture, we are going to talk about value types versus reference types. This is a very important concept in programming. You must know the difference between value types and reference types. We will start this lecture by learning the difference between the value and the reference types, and then we will learn how these two types behave when they are used as parameters in the methods. Let's move on and try to learn the difference between the value and the reference types. We will take help from several on-screen images. So here comes the first image. Data types in programming are divided into two types. We call them value type and reference type. In the value type, we have types like integer, double, bool, date and time, and struct. You know most of them, right? Struct is not a part of this course, but struct is also a value type. The second category is reference type. In the reference type, we have different types like class, array, string, list, dictionary, etc. Except class, you know all of them. We have worked with array, string, list, dictionary, etc. Classes are used in object-oriented programming, and for that, we have the second part of this course where we will learn to code object-oriented. So here we have two different types. Our types or data types are divided into two categories. Now the question is why value type is called value type and reference type is called reference type. Here comes the answer. Try to read and understand the text on which arrows are pointing on. Value types are called value types because they store data directly in variables. Right? So data is stored directly in the variables. There is no other memory reference. Whereas in the reference type, data is not stored directly in the variables. Data is stored or saved somewhere else and the variable will only have the memory address of that location. This is the core difference between value types and reference types. It's all about how the data is being stored by the variables. I have further simplified this concept. Let's now study these two diagrams. Diagram to the left is for value type. In the diagram, you can see how an integer variable is saved in the memory. Data is saved together with the variable. For example, at memory location 0x200, we have our variable with data. The second diagram to the right shows the memory representation of reference type. We have an array with three components 1, 2, 3. These components are saved somewhere in the heap memory at location 0x100. Whereas the array variable number is not assigned those values directly in the memory. Array number variable is actually assigned the memory location of the data, which is 0x100. C#.NET system uses two different types of memories, stack and heap. Stack memory is used to store variables and value types data, whereas heap is only for reference types data. So if you have reference types in your program, the data will always be stored in the heap memory. I think you guys got my point. I have tried to simplify it as much I could. If you still didn't get it, I would suggest just Google it and read some more about it on the internet. Now we need to find the answer why value types and reference types are important when we are working with methods in C#. And here comes the answer. When a value type is passed to the method, a copy of the value is passed. A copy of the data is passed to the method or the function. Whereas when a reference type is passed to the method, a copy of reference memory address is passed to the method, not the data. This is an important distinction you need to know. When the value type is passed, a copy of the data is passed, and when the reference type is passed, a copy of the memory address is passed. If you are not aware of this behavior in programming, or especially when you're working with methods or classes, you can have some real issues, especially when data manipulation is required. Now you have enough background and it's now time to experience everything practically. We will experiment with the both value types and reference types and try to pass them to the method. And after that, we will learn how to force a value type to behave like a reference type. This is the key point of this lecture, and this is what I want you to learn from this lecture. Send a value type as a reference type. Let's move on and jump into the code. Let's change the topic first. We are talking about value types versus reference types. We are going to start with the value type. In a program, we have three variables. Let's call them A, the value 10, B with the value 20, and C with the value 30. Integer falls in the value type category, we know that. Before we send these values to the method for the manipulation, let's first print them out in the console. Now we will write a method that simply adds 5 to the values, each of them. The method name here is change values. It will take 3 parameters of type integer. Let's call them int AA, int BB, and int CC. Now each value is get increased by 5. Now we will do an interesting thing. Here we are printing out our values, and right after that we will call the method change values like this, and to the method, okay, the method is misspelled CH, and to the method we are going to pass all the variables in the same sequence A, B, and C. And after the method call, the method is simply changing the values. We will try to print our values once again. We can also put a string here to make our output more interactive. For example, after change, and here we have before change. Before we run this program, let's just try to guess the output. This statement will simply print something like 10, 20, and 30. And then we have a method call, and this method is trying to add 5 to the values. After the method call, we are trying to print our values again. So what would be the values? If you guess the output, the right output, you got the point. So what would be the values? 10, 20, or 30, or 15, 25, or 35. So what is your guess? If your guess is 10, 20, 30, then you are right. But if you are guessing 15, 25, and 35, you are wrong. Let's first run the program and check the output. We need some confirmation. And here you see the output in the console before and after. You can see the values are not changed. They are still the same, even though we send them to the method for the increment. That is because of the value type. The parameter we are passing to the method is of type value. Let's now try to find the answer why this thing is happening. What did we said in our last slide? We said when a value type is passed to the method, then a copy of a value or the data is actually passed. Here you see an example that represents our program. In the diagram, you can see we have 3 variables which are saved somewhere in the stack memory. All the variables have their own location in the memory. For example, 0x100, 0x101, 0x102. But when the method is called, our program won't send the actual memory location of our variables. It will instead send a copy of the data to the method's variable AA, BB, and CC. Then our method made increment to the variables, and that increment won't affect our original variables or original values, because there is no connection in between. The method is working on its own values or own local variables, and the variables have their own location in the memory. So that was a simple and clear demonstration of value type parameters. we can fix this issue. We can make the value types to behave like the reference type. And we will see that at the end of this lecture. Now we need to investigate the reference type. We will do the same, create a reference type, print its values, and then send the reference type to the method for the manipulation, and then print the values again. So array is a reference type. Create an array with just 3 values, 1, 2, and 3. Now we are gonna print the values. Now we are going to create a method that manipulates the values. Void change array values. It will receive an array as parameter like this. A for loop that simply loop through the array. Now we are going to update all the values by using the multiple of 10, number of I multiply by 10. So 1 become 10, 2 become 20, and 3 become 30. And now we will simply call this method like this and send that array to the method. And after the call, we are going to print the values again. Here we have before call, and here we have values after call. We are doing exactly the same as we did here with the value type. Here you will see the difference. Before the call, you will see the values in the console 1, 2, 3, and after the call, you will see the values are actually updated. You will see 10, 20, and 30. Let's first run the program and get the confirmation, and then they will discuss more about it. And so see the output, right? Confirmation before the call 1, 2, 3, after call 10, 20, and 30. You might know the reason. What did we say in the last slide? We said when a reference type is passed to the method, a copy of the reference, a copy of the memory address of the data is passed. In the diagram, you can see when you're passing the number array to the method, the actual heap's memory location where the data is located is passed to the method. And that's why the values are changed, because the method is also working with the same memory location, the original one. Now you have seen and experienced everything I told you in this lecture. Let's now come to the final point, which is the actual point I wanted to teach you in this lecture. But to cover that point, we needed some background. That's why we talked about value types and reference types. The point is, how can we make value types behave like reference types? That means instead of sending a copy of the data, we want to send the reference of the data or the location of the data in the memory, so that the changes made by the method affect the original variables. So what we actually do to achieve this goal? In C#, we have ref keyword. Ref means reference keyword, which we use in the definition of the method as well as at the calling position. Let's see how do we do that. Before the data type, we are going to add the keyword ref like this. Now we have modified the definition of the method. These variables, parameter variables, won't receive the data. They can now only receive the memory reference where the data is located. When we call the method, here is a calling. We will also put the reference keyword before the variables. That simply means do not send a copy of the data, send reference. Now our value type will behave just like the reference type, and this time you will see this output 15, 25, and 35. Let's run the program and check the result. And so this is the output in the console. Values in our original variables are now changed by the method. That was the point we wanted to cover in this lecture from the beginning, and now we have covered that point. We know now how to code a value type to behave like a reference type. Now here comes a question. Why do we do that? There should be a reason, right? The answer here is that a method can change multiple values, however, can return only a single value. For example, if we only had a single value and we wanted a method to change that value, we could have figured out a method that would return an updated value. Let me show you the example and I want you to hang along. I know the lecture has become lengthy, but things we are talking about are important for you to know. So for example, we had only a single value like this. We simply have coded like that. Send the value to the method gonna update the value or modify the value and return the modified value back to the calling position where you need that value. But how can we use this method to modify and return multiple values? For example, value B and value A, and the method is also receiving value PB and value CC. So if we updated these values, let's say in the method like this, all the values are being updated in the method, but we can only return a single value. This is a problem that we can resolve using the reference. No return is required. You can code a reference method that simply works with the original data. So my friends, that was an interesting, lengthy as well as important lecture of this course. We covered important terms in this lecture, value type and reference type. And you must have realized one thing here is that methods in C# cannot be covered in a single lecture. It's actually a topic that involves many other things. I think this is our 4th lecture on methods and there are more lectures to come. We need to cover the out keyword, in keyword, params keyword, expression body methods, methods in top level and no top level program files, the use of study keyword and local methods. All you need to do is just fasten your seatbelt and hang with me. I will teach you everything about the methods. It's now time to wind up this lecture. In the next lecture, we will talk about the out keyword. Here, we talked about the ref keyword, reference keyword. In the next lecture, we will learn the out keyword. I will see you there. Thanks for watching.